Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good, everybody? It's your boy, it's your friend, Ras Tien. And I hope you guys are all doing well. I know for the past couple of weeks, I haven't really been doing my usual show. I've been experimenting and I came up with a new gimmick. So I started testing out my voice by singing, So I wanted to add something new to my channel to, make it a bit more interesting. So that way I'm not just talking, I'm adding more of a variety of like music and later on maybe some comedy too, right? So I'm going to do a lot of different things on my channel in conjunction with my usual show. But anyway, we know that summer is here, and I hope you guys are all enjoying yourselves. And I know a lot of us can't really travel because the cases are getting worse. Like I myself, I want to travel to Japan for the summer. But anywho, let's delve into today's topic. Now, much like what the title says, is culture just culture, or is it just an excuse? Right? That's what I wanted to talk about today. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I noticed that usually, I've been living here in Asia for a long time, and I noticed that here in Asia, they use a lot of excuses to pardon themselves with everything that they do. Like, no matter how rude it may seem, they'll always just sprinkle culture on it. Culture is like that special seasoning that you could just put on anything and it just tastes good, right? Like somebody might make an arrangement with you, right? And they might stand you up. They might not give you any notice, or they may not send any messages or call you or anything like that to let you know that they're going to be late or if they can't make it, right? And then they might say the next time you talk to them, oh, well, it's just culture, when we don't let people know things. It's just a part of our culture. And I'm like, well, why, why is it that everything has to be culture, right? Because there has to be a point where we got to draw the line somewhere, because everything in our culture can't be good, right? There are bad things in our culture. In Thailand, for example, I remember, a friend of mine, he told me how, and I used to live in Thailand, so I know Thai culture. And I know that it's not appreciative to ask people for money, right? But a friend of mine, he always told me how whenever he met this fly-looking Thai girl, right? How whenever he used to meet these girls, they would, within such a short amount of time of knowing him, they would always ask him for money, right? And now these girls were obviously hustlers, so they didn't really care about culture. Because if they did, they would have applied that same thing even to a foreigner. And that's what I noticed, is that people claim things as culture when it's convenient for them, so that way they won't be held accountable for things. And that's the thing I want to talk about, is that we can't use culture for everything. Okay? Let's look at it this way. If you were in a country, right, and everyone went around kicking each other in the shin, right, and saying, well, don't feel upset. That's just how we show our affection to you. Now imagine if somebody kicked you super hard in the shin, and they told you, well, hey, if I kick you really hard, and that means I like you a lot. So if you were in such a culture, would you respect that? I don't really think you would. Because you're in pain, right? So someone who would be going around, if you're in a culture where people are going around inflicting pain on each other as a sign of affection, you wouldn't think highly of those people. You wouldn't think highly of their culture, right? And that's why we need to stop saying that that culture is that it should be used to cover up for our rudeness and impoliteness, right? Because look, it was culture one time for people to be slaves. People that was a part of the norm. But morally, people knew that wasn't right to do, right? Now, I remember that when I was having a conversation with a few people about about what's going on in America with the Asian hate movement, right? The Stop Asian Hate movement, and there are many black people, and rightfully so, who will say, well, why should we speak up for these people? Why should we advocate for their rights? They never do the same thing for us. But then you'll have some people in their defense that'll say, well, it's just culture. They're always quiet. That's just the mentality of the people to just not speak up. Right? And this is the problem. If that really is culture, then why speak up now when you've already programmed yourself to ignore things like this? If that's a part of the culture, then the culture is the problem. If that's the mentality of the people, then the mentality needs to change, right? Because we can't keep saying that we can't keep excusing everything as culture. Because if we're doing that, then that means that all the bad things will be considered good. And that's why we need to be very careful about claiming things as culture, because we don't want people to think of us as being uncivilized or just being plain evil because of the things that we practice in our culture. So we must always remember this. We got to remember that not everything in our culture is good. And we need to stop making excuses. Because when we say that, when we call things that are weird and impolite culture, then it tells the person outside of our culture a lot about us. It tells the person that we are barbaric or just uneducated or simple-minded, and no one wants people to think less of them. So even though we're all different and we got things, and we come from different backgrounds, and there are things that are different according to how we do things back at home, universally, worldwide, there should be some things that we all agree upon. Okay? And we have to be humble about it. I remember I was talking with this Thai girl one time. And I was just asking her just a simple question, like, what's her name? And rather than just telling me her full name, which is proper of an introduction, she starts getting overly suspicious. Like, why do you want to know? Are you the feds or something? And I'm like, no, that's just a part of a common introduction. She said, well, that's not how it is in Thai culture. It's rude. Not knowing that I've lived there in Thailand and I know Thai culture. But rather than just being humble, she wanted to be combative and sassy. And the point of that story is just, you can't make an excuse for everything and blame it on culture. Well, guys, that's all the time I have. Just remember, like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below on this video. And don't forget to check me out Saturdays at 5 p.m. That's where my show is going to be from now on, as well as Ras Request on every Wednesday, 7 p.m., both standard times. All right, guys, it's been real. Love, peace, and coconut grease. I'll holla.